I'm the Bunny Man.
And I'm Crazy Susie.
And we are in the Eyes of Terror. And I'm a boat.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know. Brrr. Well, happy Halloween month. We are about a week and a half out from Halloween. So that's when we decided to do our Halloween stuff. So
it's just been one of those months.
Every
month is one of those months.
Well, every Halloween we choose to do something really special. And then everybody else decides that, no, we can't do anything because we have to pay attention to them. So that's what's happened again.
October is a very special month for us. Our daughter was born in October. My birthday is in October. And we were married on Halloween.
And I was born in August. So I wasn't born in October.
You're not special, I'm sorry.
No. Darn.
Our little girl turned 18 this year, so it's very hard for us to deal with the fact that our little Oogie Boogie is an adult now. Yeah. That's difficult, but yeah.
So lucky for you, because we haven't been able to upload as much as we usually do, and we're sort of playing catch up like we always do. We'll be releasing our Halloween movies pretty much not back to back, but pretty close to every other day at this point, just to get it done. And that sounds horrible. Trying to get it on track.
So basically, we may sound a little goofier than usual. I haven't been feeling very well, so I basically have to dope myself up to get through it, so I apologize up front.
And I'll be honest, I haven't been feeling like the most October-y of moods lately until now, because it's been brutally hot down here.
And we just now started getting
fall
weather.
And what comes with fall weather? Fall allergies. So there's that, and then... but I'd rather it be cool and have the allergies than brutally hot and have the allergies. So
yeah, the Luna is happy that the weather has changed.
Mm-hmm. So what are we drinking?
I'm drinking my usual Dr. Pepper
And Jack.
I wish. No, I don't really care for Jack, but I'll take anything that has alcohol in it at the moment. But I'm not allowed.
Yeah, you're not allowed. But I am. I'm allowed.
Shut up.
I am. So I've been really excited about this beer, and I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I just really like the artwork on it. It's Shipyard's Pumpkinhead.
They're out of New York?
Rochester. So out of Rochester, New York. It is 4.5% alcohol by volume, and it's a 12 fluid ounces of beer, and it is in a glass container. I figured I was trying to explain more of what.
I like the image on the front.
Mm-hmm.
It has the headless horseman with the
pumpkin head,
with the jack-o'-lantern head.
Yeah, and then it has him holding a pint. So it's pumpkin-y, but not overly pumpkin-y. It's just like the right amount of essence on it. It's a lighter beer. So it's a light pumpkin beer. So it's not really an ale. So it's maybe a pumpkin lager would be probably the best. It does not disappoint. And I saw this buy a 6-pack is about $11 with tax. $11.50 with tax.
Where'd you find it at?
I found it at Earth Fair, but I've also seen it at Publix.
Oh, okay.
So I have other beers because I got a Build Your Own 6-pack. And it was fall season at the Earth Fair for the beer, so I was very, very happy about the Okfest.
I think the specialty stores, they tend to start a little sooner than most do.
Well, I also think they have a wider selection. Also, like Publix, I've been very unhappy with Publix selection lately of Build Your Own 6-pack. It just seems like it's more of, let's get rid of last season's beer than it has been anything special And then our Food City is the same way. It's just, or they just have a whole bunch of IPAs that I don't care about. So, again, this is a Shipyard Brewing Company Pumpkinhead, and I do enjoy it. So I suggest going out and getting it. If not, build your 6-pack. Put one in there, try it out. But I think I would buy this in a 6-pack. So it's a good beer drinking beer.
Beer drinking beer.
Beer drinking beer. All right, let's get into the movie. Our movie tonight is The Barn. We found this one on TubiTv. It was made in 2016. It's 1 hour and 28 minutes. Yes, we do have a Facebook page, so you can subscribe to that, and keep up to date with sort of what's going on. We post sporadically throughout on it. All of our new releases come out on that, on top of the podcast catchers, and it's a great way to communicate with us.
I just want to briefly say that the deadline for our Halloween creepy story competition has passed. So, and we have come up with a winner. We're not going to mention that winner right now. When we do our Terror Talk on Halloween Eve, we are going to mention who the winner is then. We are going to email the person and discuss how to get the prize pack to them, get their address and whatnot. That way we can send their prize pack to them. I am kind of irritated that we didn't get very many submissions. I would have preferred to have had more, but it is what it is, unfortunately. We are talking about having another one for December. That is a horror-themed Yuletide competition.
Yeah, so I decided this one is sort of my baby. So I think that usually the holiday time is a very cheerful time, not enough horror in it. So I thought, well, let's make it a little bit scary this year. So we're going to do a competition. So we'll follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and we'll post those like we did with the last one. We'll come up with the rules here really soon. Just just follow us on those platforms. We'll explain all the details. It won't be any much different than the last one, but we'll be constantly doing these competitions throughout the years. So, and if there's any sort of other sort of competition, maybe like an art competition or something like that you want to see, then don't be afraid to contact us and say, hey, could you do like art competition or something like that? Because we'll be more than willing to do other competitions other than writing, because we know that not everybody's a writer.
Right. Yep.
So.
Okay.
So let's get into our movie review.
So the movie is The Barn, and this is our Halloween-themed movie. It is not rated. It's 1 hour and 30 minutes long. It is in the horror genre. And IMDb gives this one a pretty high score. It's a 5.6 out of 10. This film was produced in the USA, and we actually watched this one on TubiTv.
Yes. And if you don't know what TubiTv is, it's a free Apple. It's a free Apple. It's a free movie app that you can download to, let's say, your PS3, PS4, your computer.
Your phone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Any of that type of stuff. You can download it and watch free movies. Although there are ads, it's not as bad as, like, let's say, old Hulu was.
No, and let's face it, it's free. So, all you have to do is put in your email address and a password. That's it. And it's 100% free. They don't ask for a credit card or bank information or anything like that.
And there's a lot of good movies you can't find anywhere else.
Right. I mean, we've mentioned it multiple times. We've watched a lot of the movies throughout this year on TubiTv. So,
All right. So
the director and the writer of this film is Justin M. Seaman.
isn't this an independent movie?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
And some of the cast members, we'll go over those. Mitchell Musolino, I believe, is Sam. Will Stout is Josh. Lexi Drips is Michelle. Cortland Woodard is Chris. Nikki Howell is Nikki. That was a stretch. Nickolaus Joshua is Russell. Linnea Quigley is Miss
Barnhart.
Right. Ari Lamont plays Dr. Rock. Ryan,
Nogy.
I don't know, is Shirley Garrett. David Hampton plays George, and Justin M. Seaman plays the Boogeyman.
And many, many more at imdb.com.
If you would like the full list, you can go to imdb.com and check it out there, because, we don't have the time for all that. But anyway, basically, the storyline is this. It's Halloween 1989. I won't tell you how old I was then because it's scary. And best friends Sam and Josh are trying to enjoy what's left of their final Devil's Night before graduating high school. But trouble arises when the two pals and a group of friends take a detour on their way to a rock concert, finding an old abandoned barn and awakening the evil inside. Now it's up to Sam and Josh to find a way to protect their friends and defeat the creatures that lurk within the barn.
Dun dun dun.
Exactly.
Alright, so we begin the story with classic 80s synth music.
Yep. Always got to get into that 80s.
And then we come across the town of Wary Falls, 1959. We enter a church where the preacher tells them what is going down and to not go near the barn. No one will ever go to the place that you say don't go to.
Yeah, kids work that way. Reverse psychology and all.
Yeah, everybody should go to the barn. It's a fun time. I heard they have candy.
Don't go to the barn.
Yeah. Shirley, the mischievous girl that she is.
Yes, Shirley, not Shorely. Shirley.
Did I say Shirley?
Sound like you did.
Okay, Shirley. Shirley.
The little girl, Shirley.
Goes to the barn with her best friend, guy friend, I don't know. And
Shirley talks poor George into going to the barn.
Because it has special candy, ones with razor blades in it.
They must, since the preacher was so keen on them not going there.
And so there's a pumpkin out front that's lit, and I guess supposedly that pumpkin is supposed to say to everybody, hey, knock on my door and beg for candy.
Well, she said that there are rules. The preacher said the rules are, one of them is, if there's a lit pumpkin, then, that's the house that they have candy.
Yep. So that means that the barn has candy in it, because that's where all the cool kids hang out at. That's where all the best candy's at. It's the barn. Everybody knows it. Everybody.
What do they do? Stuff it in the hay? I'm so confused.
Yeah. So Shirley knocks 3 times. It says trick or treat, and the door opens to reveal a pickaxe to the head. I give this a 3.5 out of 5. It really sets the tone of this kill and of this movie.
Yeah. George just drops his lantern and takes off the other direction. George, you know, he's pretty smart.
And then we come to now we are 30 years later, 1989, and Helena's Valley. A man explains, and there's a guy dressed up doing basically a home haunt.
Helen's Valley.
Helen's.
You said Helena.
I
added
wrote it down.
Whole bunch of other letters to there. It's Helen's Valley.
Well, I wrote it down as Helena's for some weird reason.
It's Helen's. Helens. Helen's.
I don't know where the other letters came from. I was playing Scrabble with myself.
It's
like
October 30th, 1989, so it's Halloween Eve.
Yes. And this teenager sets up a home haunt, and he explains the legend of the barn and tells what evil deeds happen with each of the characters, and I wrote those all down. So the first one is the boogeyman wants to crack your back and cut you into pieces and carry them in his sack.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, the pumpkin man. Hallowed Jack wants to carve out your head and slash you with his vines until you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
If you get scared, don't cry, or the candy corn scarecrow will surely eat your eyes. 3 knocks on the door will set them free, and say the words trick or treat. So that's what the little rhyme statement is. So.
And he'll only give the kids who are wearing spooky costumes treats, and sends the others to retrieve their treats from a barrel where
The devil sits.
when they go over to it, his friend wearing a demon costume jumps out at them and scares them.
Of course, we always have the buzzkill 80s mom that comes in and goes, you have to tear this all down because the devil.
She's not an 80s mom. She's the Reverend.
Whatever. The devil!
Josh, his father died. He was the former Reverend. And
Yeah.
Mrs. Barnhart took his position.
Yeah, well, we're still getting into the devil thing. So, that they shouldn't... who said that you will never celebrate Halloween again. And... So, okay, so... And he promises to take it down or whatever, and sends her over to the barrel of laughs that is his friend, to say that she could get her candy from there.
Mrs. Barnhart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets scared, falls down, and her ego is severely bruised. And she gets up, leaves old Huffy Puffy, and then later on calls his dad to complain about him.
So she calls and talks to Sam's dad, and he agrees to get Sam to go door to door on Halloween to collect food for the church's food bank. And afterwards, he's grounded. You're grounded, young man.
Yeah.
So you find out later that Sam has heard the story of these 3 creatures from his grandfather, and he made up these special rules to protect himself at Halloween. And Josh and Sam, they get in trouble. Well, Sam does. Well, he makes Josh think that he's also in trouble.
Yeah, he's a good friend.
That way,
he doesn't go alone.
He goes along with him. Sam and Josh go into the local roller rink to hang out.
Because that's what you did in the 80s.
Yep, that was the thing. Sam has a crush on this girl named Michelle who works there. They find out one of their favorite rock bands is coming to the area and decide to go and see them. Sam decides they will go to the concert and on the way stop at a local town and do their trick-or-treating and get the goods for Barnhart while they're trick-or-treating.
Okay, so stop. So you know that Mr. Rock TV show? Like I enjoy rock, and I used to watch some of those rock shows. I didn't realize how bad those like rock hosts were. Like they're like, oh, I'm so rock. They do weird like they do the Gene Simmons tongue and and they're like, oh, we're so rock, we're so metal, and all this other stuff, and it's sort of really cringy. And this host, he really captured that cringiness.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He had the long frizzy hair and wore sunglasses even though he was inside. And he was all, yeah, it's the rock. Brr.
Then they did the devil fingers, and rock. You have to say it randomly, like, just in case if you don't realize after every three words what you're watching or whatever, rock.
Yeah.
Metal. Yeah.
He screamed everything he said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was probably deaf from listening to all that loud music.
Yep. All that Beethoven.
So, they decide that they're going to go see Demon Inferno and trick-or-treat in a town on the way. They're talking to Michelle to place an order to get something to eat. And Josh decides to invite Michelle to come along with them.
That's what good friends do.
Right. They invite your crush to come along. That way you can be, mortified.
Yeah. And, be in there and have that awkward boner the entire time. And nothing says a good time like awkwardness with somebody you like, but you don't want them to know, or you can't say that you like them. Yeah.
So the only other problem they have now is transportation. So they go to the drive-in to ask Chris for a ride to the concert. And they just so happen to interrupt his makeout session with Nick. Yeah, some of the comments that were made were pretty interesting because they literally had interrupted them.
Yeah. And we all know what it's like to be interrupted and how joyous that is.
So the next day, they all load up and they head out. They get to the end of an old road. The old sign says, Deadville. No one finds that alarming.
I thought it was Deathville.
Deathville, yes, sorry, Deathville.
Deadville's next door. It's the other town over.
The next sign is... How do you pronounce that town? Weirley Farms?
Weirley Farms, yeah.
Weirley Farms Pumpkin Patch. Past the gate, you see the barn. Josh says, well, Sam, there it is. Your last hoorah. They build a fire and go over Sam's list of rules. He talks about his grandfather's stories. They all think it's silly that he believes all of this Halloween tall tales. And so Nikki dares Sam to go to the barn and knock on the door 3 times and say, "Trick or treat." Josh says, "That sounds like fun. Let's go with him." They go up to the barn door and they knock.
Trick or treat.
And they say, "Trick or treat."
Trick or treat.
The door opens. The Halloween spirits are awakened, but they don't see them. They walk inside. Russ jumps out and scares Sam. Chris tells Sam and Josh that they need to get into town to get the trick-or-treating done. Chris and Nikki run off. Russ decides to continue to explore the barn and try to find out where the smell is coming from.
Yeah, so they're in this barn. Russ is freaking out because there's a smell of rotting. And he's just like, man, I gotta find this smell. Because, you know, when I am in an abandoned barn that I don't know about, I have to investigate where the smell of rotting stuff is at.
Yeah. Sam, Josh, and Michelle head off to town. Russ listens to his Walkman, goes into a room with chickens, and the miner puts a spike through his head.
Was that a spike? I thought it was in the pickaxe.
No, it was small.
So it may have been the spike. Yeah. So I give this kill...
If it was a pickaxe, it was like a small one. It wasn't a normal size pickaxe.
Yeah.
So that's up for debate what the instrument was.
I give this a 2 out of 5. It was just meh. It was an okay kill. So it was a Walkman again. So if our listeners don't know, a Walkman is this thing that you put these weird hard discs in. They're not CDs.
They're cassettes.
We called them cassettes back in the day, and you put them in, and that's how you...
Look it up on YouTube, people. I'm not going through all that. No. I ain't got time for that. Look that up.
I used to have a Walkman. Actually, I think I had several. Both the tape and CD variety.
The first Walkman I got was for like my 7th Christmas.
Mine was yellow and blue and had those impact on the impact things on it.
Mm-hmm. Shock absorbers.
Yeah.
That's fancy.
That was fancy.
It's real fancy.
Yeah.
Clip it to your pants and
Clipped
walk around and just... Did your mom come up behind you and like flip it off your head and be like, "I've been yelling at you"?
Yeah. I would ride my bike while listening to it also. And, you know, in the same neighborhood, we did have that one guy with the big old boom box that walked around with the big old boom box that took like 8 Duracells. You know, in less than maybe 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Just blaring it into his ears.
I'm not telling you guys what a boombox is either. Look it up. No. Okay, so Russ is dead. Boogeyman got him. Michelle, Josh, and Sam are in town doing their trick-or-treating. And Nikki and Chris are out in the cornfield.
All by themselves. And they're horny.
At the corn maze, Chris and Nikki have some alone time. He gives her a ring, but 0 questions and no knee. He sets up camp right beside the scarecrow.
I thought the tent was already set up. Like, everything's already set up.
Yes. I'm painting a picture here. And they get down to business.
And we get our first titty rating. We have 4 out of 5. They're perky and round and very nice. And they did several close-ups of them.
Yep. They showed the nipples and everything. They were like, and this angle and that angle and zoom in and zoom out and yep, here you go. It's as if you were right there.
Yeah. Front row seat of the titties.
It's like, ooh. Squish, squish, squish. Okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Philo-vision.
He sets up camp right beside the scarecrow. And after you get all the visuals of the boobs, then it cuts back to Sam and Josh. Sam asks Josh if he has the toilet paper and the eggs and the M80s. In which, of course, he does.
Because it's not the 80s without toilet paper and M80s.
It's Halloween, man. What kind of questions are these? Okay. Chris sees someone in the maze.
Oh, here's a little word of advice if you're going to go out TPing. Don't steal the double ply. Go out there and get that Scots crap. The single stuff.
Why?
Why? Because that double ply stuff is expensive.
But won't the single stuff like break when you're trying to TP?
I get that, but I don't want our daughter to go out there and I'm like sitting there with like, well crap, I have to buy more toilet paper because she took the double ply. I would have bought her single ply because it's like 99 cents a roll or whatever.
We buy our toilet paper at Sam's.
Still.
Chris sees someone in the maze. He thinks it's Russ and goes after him. Nikki hears something. She leaves and goes to the van. And the scarecrow stops her. He laughs out loud while he cuts her up. Josh and Michelle talk. I'm sorry. We had a kill here. We had Nikki.
Kill 4. So I don't think they came for the apples. 3 out of 5.
How is Nikki number 4? I have it as number 2.
Oh, wait. Titty rating. Oh, kill 3? No. No, this will be kill 3. 3 out of 5.
How is Nikki number 3?
You had Shirley, Russ, now Nikki.
Okay, you're right. I got my numbers mixed up.
Kill 3. You really don't see. She gets her arm chopped off. You really don't see the kill, but you see like the blood splatter. And I really think what was interesting about it was the laughing. It was just really eerie because you just sort of like the scarecrow just laughs, and it's sort of like a laugh.
At one point in the movie, it was kind of like a high-pitched child laugh, like hee. I mean, it was really kind of, his laugh kind of changes depending on what part of the movie it's in. But
as he was killing, it was more of a laugh.
But I think the kind of strange thing about it was he chopped her arm off and he left her arm there for Chris to find it.
Yeah.
He took the rest of her body.
Well, he was just finishing the job that Chris didn't.
Seriously?
What?
But he left like her bloody arm there for him to... The arm that the ring was on.
Well, you know, if you like it, put a ring on it.
Yeah, but he didn't ask her to marry him. He just gave her a ring. Which just cheapens the idea of the ring. But anyway... Okay, Nikki's dead now. Josh and Michelle talk, and she tells him she had a crush on Josh.
Oh.
For some time, and he tells her to follow her heart. Chris goes back to the barn and sees the miner. He says he is looking for the guy wearing the headphones. He finally sees Russ's head on the table. The 3 demons surround him. He runs, goes back to the corn maze looking for Nikki. All that is left is her arm.
Oh.
He runs as the demons approach. Sam asks Michelle if she is having fun. She says no, she didn't think it could be any better. Chris runs down the street, looking for his friends. The demons after him. One of the demons snatches Sam's candy sack. Josh laughs hysterically. Sam says, "But did you see their faces?"
We also got pissed off because there was more in that candy sack than he was trying to let on.
Yeah. So they decide to go to the schoolhouse party. But Sam is mad, like you said, because there was more in his sack than candy. A lady in town, dressed up in a house robe and curlers with goop on her face. She heard a knock at her door, but no one was there. But the demons were in her house. She offers them candy apples, but they kill her.
So we get to kill number 4. I don't think they came for the apples. That's where that was at. It's a 3 out of 5. Again, you really don't see the kill, but I did like the splatter of blood on the screen door, on the glass of the screen door. That was a nice little effect. A plume, I guess. A plume of blood splatter.
Josh, Sam, Michelle, they all go to the 30th annual Harvest Hootenanny.
I don't think you said that country enough.
Hootenanny.
There we go.
You want me to say it again?
Sure.
Hootenanny. There you go. So, this town basically has, every single year, they have a 30th annual Harvest Hootenanny every year. Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine.
So Sam talks to this man at this Hootenanny party, and this man ends up being George Hayward, and he says he's been keeping these demons at bay from coming into the town, and Josh and Sam, they get into an argument. See, now I can't turn it off, damn it.
Yeah. I was like,
Josh finds out he didn't have to come, and it was Sam's punishment alone. I think I'd be a little upset too. So Josh storms off. Michelle left prior because Josh tells her Sam was not going to ask her to come. He wasn't going to invite her. So, but Josh can't leave because the door's jammed shut. Chris runs in frantically. See, this is where I'm confused because the door is jammed shut. So Josh can't leave. But then 2 seconds later, you see Chris frantically run in. Well, it doesn't make any sense if Josh can't leave, but Chris can run in. I mean, they're 2 separate doors, yes, but it just doesn't make logical sense to me. Why one person could come in, but another person can't go out.
Plot hole?
I mean, it's just... Anyway. So Chris says, Russell, Nikki, they're both dead. The legend's real. I saw the boogeyman. I watched him eat a face burger made out of Russell's head. 3 of them, just like the legend said. They followed me into town. Now they are... Sorry. The band is killed by the demons, and everyone goes into a panic. George tells them as long as there is flesh to take back, until whoever knocked on the door is ground beef, they have until midnight. He makes a weapon and takes them on, but sadly, he does not succeed.
Nope. And the only way that they got out of this is by wearing masks. They realize that the demons don't see them by wearing costuming.
Right. So what number is George?
666. Because, you know, like, everybody got killed there. So, I'm like...
Right. You kind of lose count.
Yeah.
The whole town gets slaughtered.
Yeah. I really didn't give him a high one because it just really wasn't that interesting. I don't even think I really wrote it down. If I did, it's lost in my notes somewhere.
He tells the boys to go back to the barn. He gives them the items he grabbed off the demons and tells them to send them back to hell. They go back to the barn and devise a plan. They decide they are too strong to fight all three together. They will call them out one at a time.
And not only are they devising a plan, but they also had a montage. They had a planning montage.
Well, they decide they're going to follow Sam's rules.
Yep.
They knocked on the door and said trick or treat, and they did not give them a treat, so they get a trick. So they suit up and prepare. They go to the pumpkin patch, and they fight Hollow Jack. To get his attention, they throw an egg at the sign. So they basically tick him off.
Oh, so the gear that they're wearing and stuff is because they actually had a small, like, weed eating business.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam was getting all pissed off because it was still in his van.
No, Chris.
Yeah. I was all pissed off because all that gear was still in
the back of his van.
Conveniently in his van.
Mm-hmm.
For just this reason.
They find Chris. His head is carved like a jack-o'-lantern.
Because he said you couldn't carve a head like a jack-o'-lantern.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no possible way. Well, they got proven wrong.
Josh puked at the sight of him. Sam smashes Hollow Jack's head, thinking he has defeated him. He realizes he becomes renewed through the other pumpkins. So they smash them. They spray him with weed killer and blow him up with M80s. Next to the cornfield. In the cornfield, they find the body of Nikki. This angers Josh. He screams, which brings out Scarecrow. Josh stabs Scarecrow, and he is down. They think he is dead. Josh gets up and tells Sam to get a cornstalk and light him on fire. Scarecrow gets up and stabs Josh. Josh falls down. Sam goes into a rage and punches Scarecrow. Scarecrow grabs a rock and knocks Sam out. Sam wakes alone in the maze. He yells out, "Josh." Josh yells back. He runs looking for him. He finds the van keys. He gets in, cranks it up.
And then the miner comes out and tries to grab Sam.
Yeah, the miner.
He hits him with the van a few times and parks it on top of him. And then next we see a preacher giving a sermon to the remaining monsters. Sam infiltrates the cult. Josh services and tries to save Michelle. Sam helps kill some uglies, and Michelle gets into the van. Sam tells her to go take a drive to a payphone and keep driving, and they kiss. So they had their romantic interlude.
Yeah, he tells her to call the police and then keep driving.
So, and they keep thinking back to what the old wise man said, and about the whole flesh. So they poison the flesh, and they kill the preacher.
They forgot the golden rule, didn't they?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to leave him. He tells her if he doesn't make it back, make sure Barnhart gets his bag. He kisses her and tells her to go drive. He wipes his face. Josh asked the preacher why he would do this. He's supposed to be a man of God. He says he is a man of God, just not your God. He betrayed us and left us with nothing. What's the point of the harvest if the whole town is dead? Your protectors, they did a lot more killing at the town dance than protecting. It's impossible. Well, they're all dead now. You may have convinced them the barn was condemned and dangerous, but they did not believe in the legend, and that is what made them weak and helpless. Sam returned with weed killer. They sprayed weed killer all over the dead. Sam has a run-in with the miner while down in the basement. Sam hooked the miner and nearly dies while spraying down the flesh. He finds the hole to hell. That'd be a weird thing to find, let me tell you. Sam and Josh realize that they are trapped in the barn and it's on fire. They try and find another way out. The boogeyman attacks Sam. He kills him and chops his head off to make sure he is surely dead once and for all. Sam and Josh sit down because Josh doesn't feel well. They hope someone will show up to help them. Sam says he will not go trick-or-treating again, and Josh says he even wants to go back to church. 11:59, they hear a monstrous snarl. Josh is upset because Sam said it was over. They followed the rules. Last scene is the arm of Satan coming out, and Josh and Sam starting to fight him.
Yep. So I give this movie a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed everything about it. It was aesthetically it was very much the 80s. Everything down to the clothing. Like, I could not find any sort of issue. I mean, I know it was a digital movie, but they really did have the grain that made 80s movies. Some of the weird flood of lighting. That one sort of put me off a little bit because I knew that was very digital. But I mean, I like the music and the humor. It's just a classic 80s movie. Modern 80s movie, I guess. And I think it was more 80s than 80s movies. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
And
they did that on purpose because they wanted to portray, that era. Even down to the movie jacket.
Yeah.
Like the movie jacket has, back in the 80s when you went to a movie store to pick up a movie, they had those bright orange stickers and stuff on them. Like, even if you buy the movie in the store, it has those stickers on there.
Yeah.
Like, not an actual sticker, but...
Yeah, it's part of the design. Yeah.
Right.
And that's actually coming back. That sort of thing. I definitely will get a hard copy of this movie once we find it. And then... But yeah, this is a great movie to start out the Halloween month. I really can't say anything bad about it. Especially since it's such an independent film. It was done pretty well.
Yeah, I think they did a good job with it.
Yeah.
So there's several items of trivia for this film, which I think are kind of interesting. They went through a lot in order to make this film. They had a lot of hurdles they had to go through, which I think honestly just adds to the charm. The writer and director, Justin M. Seaman, portrayed the boogeyman as a last resort because they couldn't find an actor who was willing to undergo the extensive makeup required for the part. The original special effects artist was fired, and every scene with effects had to be reshot which cost the production thousands of dollars. The production was plagued with issues and eventually shut down halfway through filming. However, director Justin M. Seaman convinced the entire cast and crew to come back and finish his lifelong dream project. Almost everyone came back and worked for free, even after some of the actors had moved to New York because they all believed so strongly in the director's vision. The proposed sequel would be called The Barn 2: Zombie Railroad. The movie also has an 80s style throwback video game based on 80s side scroller games. You know the video game, don't you?
A little. I'll see if I can't find it somewhere.
Lexi Drips Michelle was the first actor on the first day to audition. The director and producer felt she was perfect for the role, but continued to audition actors for Michelle because they thought you can't cast the first actor you see. They eventually went with their first choice and cast her. Rocky Gray, a Grammy-nominated musician and the composer of the film, approached the director after discovering the poster online and offered to do the score. Nearly all of the wardrobe was found in thrift stores. Not surprising. Linnea Quigley was a late addition to the film. She had originally been approached by the director to play Miss Barnhart, but she couldn't fit it into her schedule. A crew member was asked to play Miss Barnhart after they failed to find any actress they liked. As luck would have it, when the trailer was released online, Linnea saw it and told her manager that she wanted to do it. They reshot scenes with Miss Barnhart after production had already wrapped up to include her. She has gone on to praise the film and admits that she was glad she eventually accepted the role. She even urges her fans, "This Halloween, if you don't see it, I'm coming after you with a chainsaw." Lovely lady. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's lovely. The film was actually shot in the fall, but the early onset of winter that year made night shoots incredibly cold, dropping to 12 degrees some nights. Nearly all the actors got sick. That's not good. All of the actors who portrayed surviving actors have agreed to come back for a sequel. The film is based on a series of comics the writer-director Jim M. Seaman created as a kid. He still has the comics to this day.
I think you should publish them.
Yep.
So this just begins our Halloween movies. So we try something different with our mic So if we sound weird or picked up more noise, then we're sorry. I won't know until I start editing. So hopefully it's better than worse.
Yeah, hopefully. No, I think that's probably all of it.
So we've got a week and a half before Halloween.
Halloween never dies here. It's
I know, and it's not okay. This is gonna sound weird. It's just, to me, it's like I always feel like Halloween I always have this weird, like, after the like aftermath. No matter what holiday it is, I'm like, oh, I actually don't feel anything during the holiday, but it's like always after the holidays, I'm like, man, I wish it was like that holiday again. Just because I finally get into that thing. I think I just get tired of the lead up. I don't know. But for Halloween, I just like, it feels like every other day for me. So I'm like, what's up? But I still love Halloween.
I love after when all the stuff goes on sale and I can just go and like buy a whole bunch of Halloween stuff that's real cheap and go, ooh, I could put this here and that there, because we keep Halloween stuff up year round. We never take it down.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law came over one time and said, oh, did you know that you have this Halloween thing on your window? And I was like, really, Mom? And she goes, oh yeah, I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're crazy like that.
I think, the big thing is that we really can't celebrate Halloween the way that we want to celebrate Halloween. I think that's the biggest, like, ours is more ritualistic than it is anything else. Halloween has always been very ritualized for us, and it's hard to do any of that in the area that we live in right now. Maybe that's what it's usually like we have the rituals of like bonfires and stuff like that, like a fire and...
Yeah, you can't really do that in an apartment.
No. So, I know we've been living here for 3 years, but I just sort of like really miss being able to do that. Having that freedom to build a fire somewhere and just chill out, and especially when it's so cool out. And I miss the camping that we usually do this time of year. And so.
Well, alright, that is all we have.
Yep. And
on to the next.
Yep. And this one is a doozy. Alright, we'll talk to you later.
Scare you later.
Bye.